Hi guys, Keith Arkenberg Farms. It is the end of February. By the time this gets out, it'll be the beginning of March 2021. And it is, as you can see behind me, foggy out here this morning. It's probably about 40 some degrees out. Let's see what it says right here. Yeah, it's about maybe 42 degrees out, which is good. It's gonna be nice and warm today. Chickens behind me are talking to me. Hi, chickens. They've gotten really good. If they're a little short on food or water, they let me know right away. I'll get back to them here in a second. But the season is upon us. So we need to get this thing cleared out the rest of the way. And then over here behind me now is a completed 90-foot long greenhouse. I just got to get the sidewalls put onto it. All the tracks there, everything's ready to go. I just got to get the plastic stretched. Just trying to get it dried out for right now. The soil's very wet. I was able to move the rows over with the Wonder Bar for the tractor. That worked out pretty well. That's another thing I'm going to mess around with today is I want to get this tunnel out because it performed very good with a few exceptions. But this is actually the top of my propagation house that's going to be on the other side of that greenhouse. But the good thing is the soil down here inside of this tunnel is nice and dry. Might even be too dry. I don't know. I'll have to see. I might have to actually water it before I place it. Everything in here is done. It's toast. It got so cold during that cold snap, it pretty much killed everything. I mean, there's a few little bits and pieces, like the reds always do really good, but the greens are all dead. Every last one. Well, not every last one. There's still some crisp that's doing good, but for the most part, they're dead. It's not even worth messing with. I'm just going to pull the fabric. And I want to do some subsoiling. A ripper, subsoiler, different names, different places. But since I've got that toolbar for my little tiny tractor now, I figured that would be a great way to do some deep soil work instead of using a broadfork. I have nothing against a broadfork. I like using them. They just take a long time. And with as much as I've got going on now and the crew we've got built up, I mean, we've got over 100 beds that are 40 foot long, and I'm getting ready to put in a whole entire another 25 90-foot beds and possibly break ground on another plot. I mean, it's just getting to the point where it's just taking too much time. So I went down to Tractor Supply. I went to John Deere store. I found, well, they found me these points for what would be the tire track eraser. It's adjustable, but I just put these on. Looks like this should work pretty good. Gonna mount in the middle here and drop them deep and see what happens. So let's get going on it. Now, the most frustrating thing about these Wonder Bars is that every single nut and bolt on these things are a different damn size. So literally, you have to get an entire socket set to mess with it. Like these down here, I think those are 1/2 inch. These are 11/16. These are 5/8. I think these might be 11/16 as well. The big nuts, those are 1.125. Those are the same size as there. Got other ones on the disc that are different. Here they're different. So basically what I figured out is I just need to go get a big adjustable wrench. I don't have one that big, so I'm gonna walk down to my folks' house, which is through the tree line down there, and go borrow one from them, because the one I have only goes up to I'm gonna say like 3/4. So It's also handy. Impact driver. I'll have a socket on it for messing with it just because it's a lot quicker that way. But what I'm finding out is one this size and then get a much bigger one to get those big nuts. So it's easier to adjust. The other thing was I really think it might be optimal just to buy a couple more bars, and then I can just set the bar up the way I want, and I can just use an impact driver, pop off the bolts that hold the bar on itself. 4 bolts, whole thing comes off. That eliminates the need to do anything else. But we'll see how that goes. I actually got another bar over there that I ordered from them because it's actually cheaper to order the bar from them for some reason than it is to buy it locally, even with the shipping, which is amazing. And these guys right here, these are the extenders. So these clamp onto the first bar, and then the second bar clamps into here. So I can do a second set of cultivators. But what my plan is to put this on, and then on this back bar, put a roll of landscape fabric. So I go out and do these big 90-foot long beds that are going to be all semi-permanent. They'll be up for the whole entire season. They're going to be in the U-pick area. Stretch it out. Well, I'll prep the beds. I'll stretch out the fabric, tighten it down, let it sit for a couple weeks. Then I'll come through and burn my holes right into that, and then put the plants right through it. So hopefully I'll save me a lot of time that way, but we'll see. Anyways, I'm gonna go take a walk, go grab a wrench, get back up here and start playing with this thing. Okay, now I got the tire track sweeps out of the way. I moved them to the center, which by the way is a pain in the butt with just a big open-end wrench like this, because there's not much room in here and you constantly keep hitting the bar and the other 3-point attachments on the tractor. But I got it on. Now I want to show you how I'm going to adjust for depth, because what I want to be able to do is just drop this bar down as far as possible, and that'll give me my depth that I'm actually ripping at. So I've got one side tight, other side's loose. I'm going to drop the bar by leaving the lever all the way forward, and then I will take the tension off. Do that on both sides, make sure it's not catching. And then it drops right down to the bottom. So for me it looks like it's basically all the way down is where the bottom of this bar tool or toolbar bottoms out. Now I'll go through, tighten up my square nuts again on both sides, and then I'll be able to raise it up to the depth I want, and then drop those back down. So, well, I'll have to do that and I'll show you. So my original plan to set these was to raise the bar up as far as possible and then measure from the tip down to determine what my depth was. But it turns out I can only go 12 inches. And I went and measured my broadfork, and it goes down about 10-12 inches. So what I think I'm going to do is just take it down to near the end of the bar on both sides, and that'll give me about 10-12 inches, and that'll be from tire track to tire track, so the beds are slightly sloped upwards, so it should probably give me a little bit more. But we'll see how it goes, because this little tiny tractor is only 16 horse, and I'm not even sure I'll even pull it. But we'll see. I might have to try to pull one, or set them shallower and then do a deeper cultivation. I don't know. We'll find out. So after taking a second look at this, I determined if I just went to the ends of them where the nuts are to adjust it, the bar inside of here wanted to move a lot, because if you can see here, the end of the bolt that actually bolts the piece onto the toolbar ends right here, but underneath that is hollow, back about a 1/4 inch or so. So what I decided to do is just raise it up so it's backing on there. So when I put force on this, it's going to push this out past my pivot point and then push in on this instead of pushing in here, which could cause damage to the bottom here or possibly even bend this. But that's where we're going right now. Only lost about 2 inches, so we're still at about 10 inches. And that's what a broad fork basically does. So I believe we'll still maintain the intentions of what we're trying to do here. Now with the tractor all set up. I need to turn my attentions to getting the tunnel out of the way, because that is the only dry, completely thawed ground I have out here. I mean, this area where all the tarps ended up through all the wind, not bad. It's a little soft, but let me turn you around here. There we are. You can see the soil's actually cracked up top. It's still pretty moist, but then we have areas over here that are pretty dry. So I might be able to rip through this whole thing. Biggest question is underneath where these tarps are, is what's underneath them. It's probably frozen solid because it hasn't seen the sun. But I know after I take this thing down, I'll have no problem. Just gotta wait for the plastic to dry up a little bit, because I don't want to store wet plastic. This stuff is just wet as can be with all the fog out here on the field. So I'm gonna start pulling ground cloth, getting the sprinkler heads out. Probably pull the ropes on them too. I'll kind of keep myself busy until I can actually pull the rest of the plastic off this. So I'm out in the field now. Got the tractor behind me all ready to go. As you can see, I pulled the plastic up on the cat tunnel because I'm getting ready to pull that out of here. It's the easiest way when it gets really windy just to get it up out of the way is literally just take it and get it up, and then you tie it around the post. Your top center purlin up there, get it out of the way. But we're gonna go ahead and run this through with the rippers and kind of see what it does. So that actually worked really good, almost too good. I mean, I'm down good 8-10 inches in the middle of this, but I kind of destroyed the soil in general here. And it's not really like inverted, but it's just fractured the whole thing, which that might be a good thing, but I try to usually not do that much soil disturbance. I don't know, we're just gonna have to kind of see how it goes. It was also a little wetter and I'd like to do it too, so after it dries up a little bit better, it'll do more of a pick up instead of kind of just destroy when it drags through. But it did definitely pick this bed up. I mean, it's hard for you to see on the camera here, but it picked it up a good probably 3 or 4 inches there. Which in that respect, that's really good, because that's what I want. That just brings up everything and aerates it and gets a nice fresh bed to work in. And then this probably only happen once a season, maybe once every other season. I'm just gonna have to kind of play it by ear, because I try to do as little as possible on this, keep the soil as intact as possible. So I don't know, we'll just kind of have to see how it works. But I hope y'all like what you saw today. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank y'all. Have a good day.